A girl who didn't like being a good girl had another life as Alicia, a bad girl. So Alicia promised that she would become the worst evil in the world to leave her mark on history after her dream came true. Today's show starts with Alicia sitting at home when Hale walks in. She tells him that she hardly recognizes him because he has changed and grown up a bit. He says he hasn't had the guts to talk to her in a long time because he feels bad about it. She then put her hand on his shoulder and said, "Let's go to Luana Villa this first." He nods. He asks her, "Are you sure you don't want to go home first?" Before they go into the bush. Everyone is there to check on you and make sure you're okay. She tells him that she needs to get to the village right away. He suggests that the village might not be ready for a visit at this time of day, but she is adamant that she has finally learned what she needs, and that this is her first trip to the village in years. When they get to the village, she is shocked and asks, "Is this really Luana?" They see that the locals are working hard, and Rebecca is in charge of them. She says that the mood is very different from the last time she was there. The village's personal guard, Nate, then walks up to them and asks, "Are you Alicia?" He introduces himself and says that Rebecca told him about her. He also says that she is the reason the town has gotten better. He also thanks her for not having to see any children die of hunger this year and says he still doesn't trust her. Alicia tells him that it's okay, and she doesn't expect him to trust her completely. He goes on to say that they haven't heard from her in a long time, and all of a sudden she shows up. "What is your goal?" "I will not let you get Rebecca and the other locals to do what you want as part of some noble game." Jill says that he already told her why she hasn't been there before. Then Alicia says, "How about a swordsmanship test between you and me? I don't know you, and you don't know me. So don't judge me. The best way to find out is to see what you can do." Nate says, "I won't lower myself to hit a weak woman," and she refuses. But she dares him. "Let's compete in a different way if you're sure of your skills." He gets mad at her and tells her not to blame him if something bad happens to her. She takes him up on his dare and beats him badly. Soon after, Rebecca shows up and sees Nate laying on the ground. Alicia is pointing her sword at him and saying, "Nate said he couldn't trust me, so I showed him who is stronger between us." The locals are confused about how she beat him, and one of them says it was magic because they think she cheated. "No, she beat me fairly and square," Nate says. "She really is talented, and she didn't use any magic when we fought." Alicia speaks up and says, "Let me tell you why I won. As the daughter of a noble, I got the best schooling from a very young age, and my family has taken care of all my needs in life. I also learned how to use a sword from my older brothers. The outcome would have been different if you had learned swordsmanship in the same way." "What's the point of this?" he asks her. "Are you making fun of me?" "No, I think you should use me," she says. "If I were just a noble trying to help people, why not use me to help yourself? Show me that you are determined to do it. Do it for Rebecca, since you care about her." When old Will walks up, Alicia meets him and says it's been a long time since they've seen each other. She tells him that she came today because she has hit level 91 in black magic. She starts to create a light field around herself and Will, which seems to heal him. She says that this spell lets someone else take over a part of her body. Will tells her he can see now and thanks her, but then he gets mad and asks, "Do you know what you just did?" "So yes, I gave you one of my eyes, even though you didn't ask for it," Alicia says in a calm voice. "It was my wish that you could see, but I knew you wouldn't ask anyone else for an eye." And then Jill shows up and says hello to Will, saying that he hasn't seen him since he was a kid. Will adds, "Now I can see the faces of all the villagers." He hears that Alicia worked hard to learn the old language so she could cast this spell. Alicia did something good, and she thanks her. Then she and Jill leave. When Jill asks her eye is okay, she says it feels funny but doesn't hurt. She then says, "Magic is truly amazing." Then he asks if anyone wasn't worried when they heard she lost her eye, especially her dad, who had been very worried for a few days. Alicia says, "Yes, he tends to exaggerate in his protection, and that might make him cry." After that, the scene changes to Alicia and her dad. His heart stops beating as soon as he hears what she did. He asks how it happened and if she was hurt while training or by accident. "No, it wasn't an accident," she tells him. "I freely gave my eye to someone else." He's shocked even more and passes out again. "I knew you were a child who doesn't listen, but I never thought you'd come home without an eye," he tells her when he wakes up. "I guess I'm not the perfect rich girl you wanted me to be," she says. "I understand that I'm not a good daughter, but I'll keep living the way I want to." This is the one thing I will not give in on. He adds, I'm still your father, and I won't compromise on worrying about you, no matter how much it bothers you. She has worked hard for 2 years and has now reached level 90 in magic. He tells her he will keep his word and continue to watch over Liz Cather. Jill comes into the picture and gives Alicia something to put over her eye. He tells her he made it himself. She says thank you and that she will think about what to wear with the patch now that she has it. She says that she will go back to the school in 2 years and that people will be there to see it. Everyone is shocked by Alicia's new look when she goes back to the school. When she meets them, everyone is amazed by how beautiful she is. She thinks to herself, a villain's return also needs a good showpiece. Then a girl comes up to her and says, I thought you weren't going back to school. The girl doesn't answer Jill's question. Who is she? It's better for you to leave this school right now, she tells Alicia. I'm going back to the academy starting next week, Alicia says. It's an honor for me to be here today. After this, the girl says, so you're one of Liz's devoted fans. I bet that makes you feel good, Alicia says. Given how hostile you are toward me, I can tell that you are probably one of Liz's fans. She says, it seems you've made Liz your rival, but I suggest you realize your place before you embarrass yourself even more. Her question is, what do you think is wrong with me? When asked, the girl replied, that flashy outfit you're wearing makes you look nothing like Liz. Liz Sama doesn't care about how she looks. She treats everyone the same and fairly. You're nothing like her at all. She says, what's inside is more important than what's outside. But the truth is that most people judge others based on how they look. You told me I was bad today just because of how I looked. The girl gets angry and says, I did it because it's clear that you're ugly on the inside too. And it shows on the outside. Alicia tells her, your hair is a mess with split ends, and this short skirt makes your legs look fat. The bow in your hair is also crooked. It looks like your dirty insides are coming out. There's no need to care about how you look, the girl says. Liz Sama told me I'm beautiful the way I am. Alicia comes up to her and asks, then why do you wear your hair forward to hide your eye? Why not feel good about how you look? Liz shows up at that moment. She is shocked when she sees Alicia and tells Jill that Alicia was judging the girl's looks. Liz then tells the girl, Jen, you're a pretty girl. Please don't let words like these get to you. It's been 2 years since we last met, Liz tells Alicia. What went on between you and Jine? She says, it's important to hear both sides. She tells Liz, I did say bad things about Jine's looks, but do you remember what happened 2 years ago? Liz asks, because of my biases, I put limits on you and quit going to school. I'm sorry I did that and I feel bad about it, Alicia. She tells Liz not to feel sorry for her because she doesn't want it. It wasn't that kept her from going to school, she has her own reasons. After Alicia says this, Liz tells her that she saved her from being alone, which is something Alicia had always wanted. Everyone knows that Liz can always get what she wants. Alicia moves closer to Liz and tells her, you're happy now that things are going the way you want them to, but don't be too sure of yourself. I know you dislike me. When I faced the thief 2 years ago, you held me back so that the thief could kill me, even though you could have held both of us back. Liz says no, saying, would you really feel happy if you became evil and tarnished my image in front of everyone, Alicia? So when asked, Alicia says, if I were a good girl, I'd want you to take this seriously. There was nothing useful that you did besides talking. I've always been annoyed by the fact that you got a happy finish by taking advantage of situations. Do you understand that somehow things work out the way you want them to? Have you ever tried to figure out what that means and how reliable it is? She then leaves, which shocks Liz. Alicia tells Jine, I didn't do anything when she is asked what she did to Liz. I told her I didn't need her to help me. I will always be true to myself, even if everyone hates me for it. Alicia then leaves and walks away. The scene changes to Prince Duke reading a book in his room. The guard outside tells him that strange things are happening that he didn't expect, but Duck doesn't seem interested. When we go back to see Alicia with Jill, her teacher, John, is shocked by how well she is doing in school. He says she would do well in higher classes if she were put there. He also says nice things about Jill's growth and says he can't believe Jill is only 11 years old. Alicia thanks him for his words and tells him that Jill has trained hard and worked very hard to get that result. After that, Jill leaves and asks Alicia, is it true that regular people can't do greater magic? Commoners can't use magic, Alicia says. They are quickly denied any chances to go to school or find a job. But not every job needs magic. If something is good, it will lead to a good education. So no one thinks they need to hire people who aren't good. Jill, we need to start fighting royalty. Duke shows up out of the blue, making Alicia mad. She tells him not to show up in front of her like that again. He tries to scare her with his magic and says, "I heard you gave someone one of your eyes. Is that real?" Duke gets angry when Alicia tells him it's not his business and he shouldn't get involved, saying, "How is it not my business? Do you know how closely I've been keeping an eye on you for the past 2 years? I know that since you were a kid, you've been pretending to be the bad girl for fun." She tells him to stay away because she never asked him to take care of her. Duck is shocked by what she said, says sorry, and walks away. So this is when Jill asks Alicia, "What happened to you? This is not how you were before." "This is how I become a villain," Alicia says. When she does something stupid like what she did with Duke, Jill says it's wrong and foolish. Alicia is a little sad and thinks of good times she had with Duck. Alicia thinks about how she feels at the end of the show, and there is a message telling viewers to subscribe and set up alerts for more episodes.